Greetings everyone, welcome to Advanced. This game is from day one of Blitz. This game is played between with the white pieces. We have Fabiano Caruana, who was leading the Saint Louis with two extra points. With the rapid section, but here in the Blitz section, somehow I don't know what happened to Fabi, but he absolutely collapsed. And Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is one of the most amazing Blitz player you'll ever see. And just this is absolutely a positional masterclass. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Bobby starts with c4. We have e5, g3, d5, and now just going for c captures, queen captures. We go into the English variation, and now just going for knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to g2, just main line. And now there could be some discovery, so it's better to move the queen back. But other than that, you can also go for knight to f6, d3, bishop to a7, castles, a3, and now you play this bishop to g4. And now you can see right from the opening, black has a lot of pressure. You can push, you can get the rooks into the game, and so you'll have a very fine game here. b4 immediately by Fabi, and engine doesn't like it that very much, but again, it's not that much of a difference, so I think it's fine. Rook a to d8, and now just knight to c3, attacking the queen. Queen moves back, and now just going for this bishop to e3. Bishop to e3 might be a little bit of a weak move, but engine doesn't react that very much. And I think if you push e4, you create a like complete weakness, so black can finally have a target. And if you give someone a target for no apparent reason, they will most likely take it and just be better in the position. So rather than doing all of this, here just knight to d4 was played, and position is not looking very good for Fabi. I think he has definitely misplayed this. But here after knight to g5, queen to c8, f3, and now the structure looks a decent, but then again, with white pieces, you're not looking for decent. Bishop to f5, but now just comes this knight g to e4, and in this position, just going for this knight captures. And if you take this pawn, then this captures, that comes with an attack on the rook, so you have to be a little bit careful not to fall for such tactics. We have f captures by Fabi, which is the right way to play this, but bishop to g4, and now you have to understand this will be a constant target. Knight can't always remain there to guard it, so here Fabi goes for rook to f2, which is well, an okay move, but again, black has just too much pressure here already by just move 16, and Fabi has definitely misplayed this. We have c6, rook to b1, but now just going for h5. And what do you even do in this position? Then you know that you have misplayed the opening right from the right from the get-go. I mean, Fabi is not that worse that he's completely losing, but when you give Maxime a little bit, even a little bit, he will just completely outplay you. But here in this position, I think the best move would have been just to go for bishop to f3. You know that this bishop is very, very strong, and here after knight captures, you go for this e captures, bishop to h3, queen to c2. And it took me a while to analyze this game, but I mean, then you have to understand that it's a blitz game. You don't want to analyze it too much, but again, the moves for white were very, very difficult to find, so that's why it took me a little bit while. Because here after queen to d7, you play like rook to d2, and I think your position is pretty much fine, but this is going to be a weakness for the entire game, and you've given white a bit of a target, given black a bit of a target to actually succumb to something. So it's going to be difficult for Fabi to hold this position, and especially against Maxime is absolutely insane player. Here you could even go for f5 for a change, and yeah, the position is not looking good for Fabi. But here after h5, we have queen to d2, and queen to d2 is not a good move. Here Maxime goes for queen to e6, bishop to g5, f6, and now just bishop back to e3. And rook to d7 was played, and most likely, in these kinds of position, when someone has gone for this, you have to understand this bishop doesn't have that many squares, and it's basically a helpless little pawn here with in the middle of these other pawns. So it's always better to let go of some things, rather than to keep these pathetic pieces in your position, because you know that it's one way or another going to turn your position upside down. So going for bishop caps on d4 here was the best move. But here after e captures, now you go for this knight to a4, with the idea of jumping to c5, and that'll be a great piece. It will also come with a fork, so I think you're going to have to give up your dark square bishop, and yeah, the game would be I think okay afterwards. But here b6, not even allowing that, and where does the knight move? Rook b to f1, with the idea that you're not allowing f5 ever to exist in the future, also like not allowing some g5 f5 ideas in the future as well. But here you could go for g5. No, I mean, it doesn't give that significant advantage to black, but you have to understand that g5 is a very aggressive move. I mean, it's like you're just pushing for a win, and especially with the fact that one of your pieces is there on a4 and cannot get in the game, it just adds more fuel to the fire. And here if you go for knight to b2, trying to get that knight into the game, just b5, and there is no way you could jump to anywhere ever again. I mean, I don't know what you're doing with that knight. And here after a move like bishop to f3, bishop to h3, bishop to g2, most likely either you're going to go back, or either you're going to push, or yeah, the position is not looking good. I mean, you could even he can even push it all the way in some lines. But obviously this is just not a great position to have. But here, after rook after d7, we have bishop to f1, which just makes it much worse. I mean, I think he wanted to maybe just trade more pieces so that rook and the queen can be a little bit free and knight can move, so that you don't lose this pawn. But I don't understand the point of bishop to f1. But here, rook f to d8. But now this comes queen to a2. Queen to a2 is again a bad move, simply because of the fact that you already have a bad position. Your bishop is stuck here like a pawn. You're protecting forcibly this pawn, which is supposed to be good. I mean, I have no idea what you're doing, because here queen to a2 seems like you're already lost. You have no counterplay and you're trading queens. Why? I think the best would have been, I think, knight to a4, just trying to do something in this position. But yeah, after, I mean, b6, then you again have to go for that passive line that I just showed, and with like maybe bishop captures, and the bishop captures and knight goes back. So I think that would have been still better. But after queen to a2, the position just absolutely collapses, because here after queen captures, knight captures. I mean, Maxime is happy to trade. You have to understand, he has a beautiful knight to d4 that you cannot get rid of. If you capture, then just pawn capture, and that pawn will be a nuisance the entire game. You already have an attack here. You cannot get rid of this bishop. You cannot play a move like h3. I mean, you can play it now, but you couldn't play it before. But I think the work is absolutely done, and this knight doesn't have a lot of squares to go to, even if you go here. So I think Maxime's position absolutely spectacular. Here just a5 was played by Maxime, trying to open up lines. But here after b captures, rook to a8, now just comes this bishop d2. We have bishop captures, and you can see that the position is not agreeing with Fabi at all. Here bishop to c1, here knight to c1, and just bishop to c5. There's just lot of threats with this one move, and there is no good way to do anything as well. Let's say you play king to h1, which was played in the game, then just comes this knight to c2, and now you can understand your rook is under attack. And where do you even move the rook? Let's say rook to g2, but then the bishop to h3 comes, that was played in the game. Now rook to g1, again you're just sacrificing the exchange for no compensation. Even rook captures and bishop captures just will be enough to win you the game. I mean, you have a you have a knight here. Knight can always go back. Your pieces are absolutely worse. Next, I'm going to capture this. The endgame is completely winning. But in this position, I mean, Maxime goes absolutely insane. He goes for bishop back to e6, not even allowing any trades to happen in later, or I mean, not even allowing any trades. But after rook to g2, just goes for this knight to e3, knight to f2, and here just goes for this beautiful knight to c4. If you capture, then just bishop captures, and this is also a threat. After that, this is also a threat. The position just absolutely crumbles in just 31 moves, and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave beats Fabiano Caruana, world number 3, in just 31 moves. That's absolutely crazy. With the form that Fabi had in rapid section of this tournament, and with the one that he has now in the blitz section, and it just doesn't even agree. It's like they're completely two different persons. And he even said, I mean, in an interview with St. Louis, that I think people are having their people are having in this age their names in the Hall of Fame. I think there should be a separate section for me in the Hall of Shame, because yeah, I just he, I think, gave a free rook in the last round, and lost a game against Nordibek. So it's, yeah, definitely not his greatest performance. But it happens. You play so many games, you're bound to get annoyed by it. And even after this pathetic performance in the blitz section, he was able to get second position. So that's how you know how strong really Fabi is. But yeah, sometimes you have bad tournaments and these things happen, but you shouldn't judge. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you all. Hope to see you very soon.